I made my 92-year neighbor feel like a giddy kid again, but I can't stop crying about it. I used to live next to this extremely ancient old man, who was every bit as pure-hearted and kind as he was delirious and crazy. He was a War II, in his words, vet, and back before dementia took over his mind, he'd do things like invite me over for tea and help me out with my history projects by telling war stories. But then the Alzheimer's hit, and he became a shell of his former self. There were times he'd stand on his porch and just watch me mow the lawn while he ate his Hershey's chocolate bar, and there were times he'd yell at me because he thought I was stealing his things. I was in my garden. His wife would shuffle him back into the house whenever this happened, and she'd always apologize to me. Well, about 3 weeks ago I bought a truck that I had dreamed about owning. It was huge, blacker than my first ex-wife's heart, and even prettier than my second ex-wife. That Saturday I was putting a new coat of wax on it, when suddenly the old man startled me. He tapped my shoulder and said, "Nice truck, boy." "Thanks, Marine," I said. He had a real name, but he forgot it and wouldn't answer to it, so I just called him Marine out of respect for his service. Marine began walking around the truck with his hands behind his back, smiling and calling it a thing of beauty. He told me about a truck he'd owned at some point in his life, and what he did next absolutely blew my mind. He perfectly recalled the day he drove it to pick up his wife to drive them to their wedding. He said he still remembers how beautiful her dress looked, how her hair was done, and how he felt like the luckiest man alive. I may forget a lot of things, but that I never will. I felt my heart melt for him, and then right as I was about to say something, he did something even more shocking. He rifled through his pockets, pulled out all the change he had, and said, "I'll give you $1.13 if you take me for a ride." "Huh?" I stammered. "You really want a ride?" "Damn it, Kyle. I gave you that house. Take me for a ride and I'll give you my dollar." My name isn't Kyle, and he didn't give me my house, but whatever. "What about your wife? Won't she wonder where you're at?" I asked. "That sweet woman always knows where I am. I told her I was coming to look at your truck. Now take me for a ride." "Why the hell not?" I said to myself, and opened the door to signal for him to get in. He needed help getting into the passenger seat, and he grumbled about the seatbelt. But we started driving. I drove sedately because I didn't want to frighten him or give him a heart attack. But not even 5 minutes in, he said, "Come on, boy. Let's get this beach dirtier than the troops laying in the mud." For the second time, I said myself, "Why the hell not?" "Okay, Marine, but don't you die on me." I took him a mile out of town to the 2 mud tracks nearby. I sped up a little, causing the wet dirt to splash on the side of the truck, and Marine laughed and grabbed the handhold over the door with both hands. "That's better, Kyle," he said. I didn't care if he knew my name. In those few moments, I was Kyle. I drove through mud, splashed water higher than the truck, hit potholes like I was 18, and gunned the engine like the truck wasn't mine. The old man laughed and coughed and dribbled spit, but he was having a good time. We spent about 10 minutes on the tracks before finding a dirt road. The Marine was breathing heavily, but he was smiling a toothless grin. I drove him back home, helped him out of the truck, and let him hold onto my arm as he toddled back up the walk to his house. His wife met us at the door. Her face was covered in scorn, but he waved her off. "Stop it, my love. Kyle just took me for a ride in his new truck. Give him a dollar." He then took her hand as she helped him up the steps. She looked at me and said, "Thank you, Kyle." That was one of the last times I ever saw old Marine, as he passed in his sleep last night. I heard the ambulance early this morning, and his wife came over around 8 o'clock to tell me. She said he couldn't stop talking about Kyle's truck. His funeral is this Saturday, and she asked if I'd carry his casket in the back of my truck. I think he'd like that.